I want you to picture a very specific and I think very painful kind of silence. It's maybe 2 in the morning.
Oh, I know this scene.
You're in a library or maybe just a dim home office. The coffee in your mug is stone cold, and in front of you is a screen with just that single blinking cursor.
The white screen of death.
Exactly, the blank page. Now, for most people, writer's block is, it's annoying. But we're talking about a really specific context today. We're talking about the legal world.
Right.
And in that world, the blank page just feels heavier. The stakes are so incredibly high. You're not just writing a blog post.
No, you're writing something that has to withstand adversarial scrutiny. I mean, it has to be bulletproof.
That's it. That's the paralysis of possibility, isn't it? When you can write anything, it's terrifyingly difficult to write the right thing.
And in legal scholarship, which is what we're focused on, good enough, is basically failure. If you're wrong, there are consequences.
That pressure is so real. I think anyone who's been to law school knows that knot in the stomach. And that's why I'm genuinely intrigued by the materials we're unpacking today. We're doing a deep dive into the L.A.W.S. Toolkit. And honestly, what grabbed me first wasn't the content, it was the framing. It doesn't present itself as a textbook.
No, it's a survival kit.
A survival kit, yes. It's not some lecture series you watch and then forget. It's supposed to be an active support system.
Something you use while you're in the trenches.
Right, while you are sweating over that draft. But before we get into the mechanics of it all, we have to talk about the vibe of this thing. Because the branding in these sources, it sets a very severe tone.
It does. It's striking. It's not trying to be your best friend.
No colorful cartoons or friendly mascots here. The imagery is all high contrast, black and white. You've got a classic fountain pen, a stark stack of papers.
An open book protected by a shield. It feels serious.
It feels weightier than your average study aid.
It feels traditional, but in a rigor sense. It signals that we aren't playing around. Which makes sense when you get to the core identity. We should probably break down that acronym, L.A.W.S.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm looking at the round logo in our source stack.
It stands for Legal Academic Writing Scholarship. And I want to pause on that last word, scholarship. That word is doing a lot of heavy lifting.
How so? I mean, we usually just think of writing or drafting.
Well, drafting a contract is one thing, but scholarship implies you're contributing to a body of knowledge. You're entering a conversation that's been going on for centuries.
So it elevates the task from, I need to finish this assignment, to
I need to add something of value to the law.
That's a tall order. That changes your whole posture when you sit down at the keyboard.
Precisely.
And speaking of tradition, there's something else on that seal that caught my eye. A motto, right in the center, in Latin.
Yes, ignorantia legis neminem excusat.
My Latin is a little rusty. Walk us through that.
It translates to ignorance of the law excuses no one. It's one of the most fundamental principles in law. You can't tell a judge, sorry, I didn't know that was illegal.
You're just presumed to know.
You are.
But putting that specific motto on a writing toolkit, well, that's aggressive, isn't it? It feels like a warning label.
It's intentionally provocative. It's saying that in legal scholarship, accuracy and process, they aren't optional features. You can't plead ignorance of proper form. You can't say, oh, I didn't know I had to cite that.
It sets a pretty high bar, like, don't mess this up.
It is. But flip that coin. If the rule is ignorance is no excuse, then the flip side is that knowledge is protection. If you follow the rules, if you know the law of writing, you're safe. The toolkit is basically saying, here are the rules so you don't have to be ignorant.
So our mission for this deep dive is to figure out how it provides that protection. We're going to unpack the 3-step workflow it proposes. We've got the template, the process, and citation.
3 steps to turn chaos into order.
Okay, let's jump into step 1. I'm looking at the logo here, that stack of papers with the L.A.W.S. header. This is the legal note template. Now play devil's advocate. Why do I need a template? Can't I just start typing?
You can, and that's usually where the disaster starts, that paralysis we talked about. The most common mistake is a writer sits down and says, okay, I'm going to write about environmental law.
But that's a topic. What's wrong with that?
It's an ocean. You can drown in environmental law. A topic is not an argument. The source says the template's job is to help you pick a topic, but it does that by forcing you to organize your paper around a clear issue and argument.
That sounds like a subtle shift, but I'm guessing it's a huge deal.
It's everything. If you just write about a topic, you end up writing a history report. First this happened, then that happened.
Like a book report.
Exactly. Nobody reads law journals for summaries. They read them for solutions to problems. The template forces you to ask, what's the issue? Meaning, what's wrong or unclear in the law? And what's your argument? How do we fix it?
I like the idea of it being a container. If you just say, write about the law, the edges are undefined. It's overwhelming. But if it says, state your issue here, suddenly I'm not staring into the void.
It restricts you, yes. But boundaries are essential. It relieves the cognitive load. You don't have to design the structure of the house. You just have to furnish the rooms.
It stops you from wondering what comes next and lets you focus on, what does this mean?
Right. It forces you to have a point before you start rambling.
Okay, so we've used the template, we have our container, we know what we're arguing, now we actually have to write the thing. And this brings us to the second tool. The logo is the fountain mirror. This is the writing process guide.
So we're moving from the, what am I writing, to the, how do I say it?
The source says this is the tool to form and refine the argument. But didn't we just form the argument in step 1?
In a broad sense, yes. You have your thesis. But refine is the key word. Most people think the argument is fully formed in their head before they type. It almost never is.
Right, the whole thinking through your fingers idea.
Yeah, exactly. And this guide is designed to help with that discovery, but without letting you get lost. The text specifically says it keeps your analysis focused.
Focus is the perennial struggle. We all been there, right? The rabbit hole danger. You're looking for one case, and suddenly you find a fascinating footnote about 17th century maritime piracy.
And it is fascinating. And 3 hours later, you've written 4 pages about pirates that have absolutely nothing to do with your actual paper.
Guilty, but so interesting.
We all are. This guide is the check against that. The source material emphasizes reasoning moving in a logical direction as you draft.
A logical direction? It's like a GPS then.
That's a great analogy.
You punch in the destination, that's your argument from step 1. And this guide is the turn-by-turn navigation. It's making sure every single paragraph is actually moving you closer.
And if a paragraph doesn't move you forward, the guide is telling you to cut it. It acknowledges that a draft is a living thing. You wrestle with the logic. Sometimes you write a paragraph and realize, wait, this actually contradicts my main point.
So the process part is about checking your own work as you go. Does this sentence follow from the last one?
It's about the flow. In legal writing, you are leading a reader, a skeptical one, by the hand. You have to build a bridge, plank by plank. The process guide is the blueprint for that bridge.
So we have our argument, we've drafted the logic, the bridge is built, we're feeling good, but then we hit the wall, the part every law student groans about.
The citations.
Step 3, the Blue Book Citation Guide. And the visual here is perfect. The open book with the shield, it feels protective, but also dense.
It needs to be. In the legal world, a text without proper citation is just an opinion. It's naked. It's vulnerable.
The source is very specific here. It says, this guide helps you check citation signals, formatting, and source relationships. Now, formatting, I get. Where the comma goes, is it italicized?
Formatting is just hygiene. If it's messy, people assume your thinking is messy. If you can't get a comma right, why should I trust your constitutional argument?
Fair point. But let's get into the other two. Citation signals and source relationships. What are we actually talking about there?
This is where the amateur is separated from the professional.
Mm.
A signal is shorthand. It tells the reader the relationship between your sentence and the authority you're citing.
Like using see also or compare.
Exactly. Or just see or see. If you just put a case name down, you are saying, this case directly states what I just wrote. If you use see, you're saying, this case supports what I wrote, but doesn't say it in those exact words.
And if you use the wrong one?
You are misleading the reader. You are claiming a case says something it doesn't. Which brings us to a phrase in the source text that I think is the most important aha moment in this whole toolkit.
Okay.
It says you use this guide so your authority matches your claims.
So your authority matches your claims. Let's drill down on that. That feels like the whole ball game.
Think about it. You can have a beautifully formatted citation. Everything looks perfect. But if the case you are citing doesn't actually support the sentence you just wrote, you have failed.
So if I claim the court always rules for the plaintiff, and I cite one case where the plaintiff won, but for some, technical reason,
then your authority does not match your claim. You're overstating your hand.
Mm.
And in legal scholarship, that's fatal. Your whole argument falls apart.
It's like counterfeiting currency.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
Your authority is your currency. And if you pass off a fake bill, even by accident, you lose all credibility.
Which brings us right back to that Latin motto, ignorantia legis neminem excusat. You can't just say, oops, I didn't interpret that signal correctly.
No. This guide is the shield in the logo. It protects your argument. It forces you to go back and check. Does this case actually say what I think it says?
It turns the work from just some thoughts I had into scholarship.
Exactly. It integrates the other two steps. The template gave you the claim, the process gave you the reasoning, the citation gives you the proof.
And when you look at it that way, these aren't three separate things, are they? They're a loop. You might get to the citation step and realize your case doesn't work.
Which forces you back to the process step to change your reasoning.
Which might even send you all the way back to the template to refine your core issue.
They're an ecosystem. And that's what I love about the philosophy here. There's an explicit instruction in the text that says, these tools aren't lessons to memorize. They're references you use as you write.
I loved that line. It takes so much pressure off. We all feel like we have to memorize the entire Blue Book before we're allowed to type a single word.
Which is impossible. Nobody memorizes the Blue Book. The experts just know where to look things up.
It's about just-in-time knowledge. It's like a carpenter. They don't walk around holding a hammer, a saw, and a drill all at the same time.
They have them on a belt.
Right. When they need the hammer, they grab the hammer. They don't need to know the physics of the hammer. They just need to use it.
And that's the L.A.W.S. Toolkit. It's responsive. Staring at a blank page. Grab the template. Logic feels mushy. Grab the process guide. Worried about a source. Grab the citation guide.
It's practical. It's not about theory. It's about utility.
And that brings it all back to the scales of justice in the logo. Scholarship is a balance between your original ideas and established law, between creativity and structure.
It elevates writing from a chore into a professional discipline.
Yes. It treats writing not as some talent you're born with, but as a craft you perform, like woodworking. And that is so empowering. It means anyone can learn it.
So let's wrap this up for you, the listener. The workflow is the same, whether you're a first-year law student or a practicing attorney. Step 1. Use the legal note template.
Stop staring at the wall. Define your issue and your argument. Don't start writing until you know what problem you're solving.
Step 2. Use the writing process guide.
Be your own GPS. Navigate your logic. Don't chase the pirates.
And step 3. The Blue Book citation guide.
Verify your currency. Make sure your authority matches your claims so you're bulletproof.
It's about moving from that blank page to the final period with confidence, not panic.
But before we sign off, I want to leave you with one last thought. We often think of templates and guides as being restrictive, right? That they kill creativity.
Yeah, that real genius is supposed to be wild and free. It reminds me of what they say about poetry. The sonnet effect.
Exactly. A sonnet has 14 lines, a strict meter, a strict rhyme scheme. It is incredibly rigid. Yet that rigidity forces the poet to be more creative.
So the question is, does the cage make the bird sing?
Or does not having to worry about where the walls are let you fly higher inside them? If you aren't wasting mental energy on citation signals, maybe you can spend 100% of your brain power on the nuance of your argument.
A provocative thought to end on. If you've got a blank page in front of you right now, maybe it's time to open the toolkit and just start with step 1.
Ignorance of the law excuses no one, but the right tools make the law a lot easier to handle.
Thanks for diving in with us. Now go write something brilliant.
See you next time.